So it's been a while since I've checked in with y'all. Wasn't intentional. I had all kinds of plans. I have all kinds of plans for different videos I want to do and different conversations I want to have, but ran into a bit of a roadblock. Long story short, I was off my meds. I guess about a year and a half ago now, I was officially diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 46. Full disclosure, my therapist and I are also working under the belief that I am also on the spectrum. I haven't received an official diagnosis for that yet, but I wholly believe that to be true. But I still want to have the official diagnosis to come in at some point. I feel like a lot of folks claim to be on the spectrum to get out of bad behavior, and there's a part of me that just doesn't want to be pulled into that ilk. So, being 47 now, I was part of a generation that was underserved when it came to mental health. ADHD, which was then ADD, was seen as more as a behavioral issue, and whatever meds they were giving at that point was to calm, especially young boys down, not necessarily improve their executive function and their decision making and their ability to perform tasks, which also meant that there was a lot of stigma specifically for the parents of these children who are going through this. So even as I believe my parents probably saw some of this, especially my mom, I think there was a space where we're going to do the best we can with this, especially since I wasn't a classic behavioral issue. The classic Gen X ADD kid was always, quote unquote, misbehaving in school, getting out their seat, outbursts, all types of stuff that makes sense if you realize somebody's dopamine is all over the map, usually plummeting through the floor, and they're just trying to function in any kind of degree. But we understand what these things are now. We are more open to getting our children treated, and because of that, a lot of us who are fully formed adults are also backtracking into getting their own diagnoses, much like me. So me going off my meds wasn't intentional. I was running low on my medication, and I had planned to reach out to the doctor to get my prescription renewed, but it fell by the wayside to the point where I was out of meds. And at that point, it's sort of a comedy of errors. It's kind of like when you wear glasses and you lose your glasses, but you need your glasses to find your glasses. It's just a terrible, terrible loop. ADHD is sort of the same thing when it comes to medication. If I don't have my meds to regulate my executive function, how do I do something that involves executive function? I ultimately had my 12-year-old make sure that I called the doctor. I hit him up. I told him the day before, basically, make sure by the end of tomorrow I've spoken to the doctor. And thank goodness for him, he kept me on task. And now I have a 90-day supply where I was getting it month to month. So hopefully that helps keep things a bit more situated. So I've been back on my meds for a little over a week now. And the transition back to being on them is both enlightening and jarring. I spin a lot of plates as a creative. I have a book coming out this fall, a children's book coming out this fall, my wife. We're working on a second book now. I'm still working on my photography. I'm working on another book that involves my photography and my love of storytelling. I have this channel. I have a second channel with my wife. And I blog. It's just, there's a lot happening at once, and it's a lot of spinning plates. And prior to my diagnosis, I had interest in all these kind of things and ideas for stuff I wanted to do, but managing those multiple processes was impossible. I would get a chapter into a book idea and that would die off. I would contemplate starting a YouTube channel, begin to shoot a video and that would die off, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to the point where for all the things I was interested in and the things I wanted to do, nothing was getting done. I've also had issues holding down jobs in the past, as well as maintaining personal relationships, which is something I'm still working on. If I haven't spoken to you in a while and you're watching this, just know that I love you. It's just struggles. When I was off for probably about a month and a half, I kind of evolved back into my original state where I was trying to get things done and I was spinning and I was forgetting things. I was losing my keys, my wallet daily. The projects my wife and I have been working on, I was kind of stalled out on, even though I was thinking about them constantly. And 2 days back on my medication, everything snapped back. The second day of me being on meds, I edited the beginnings of a music video. I wrote a chapter for our new book. I walked the dog 17 times. I cleaned up a bit. I was on, like it was crazy. Even though I was still a little tired. And actually I got a little nauseous because, so the transition and one of the side effects of the medication, especially in the beginning, you deal with nausea here and there. So being back on my meds feels kind of like the movie Limitless. The beginning part where Bradley Cooper is, super functional and doing all the things he wants to do, not the back end where he's losing time and about to die. But I'm not gonna say I didn't feel like myself, but I didn't feel like the experiences I was having prior, if that makes sense. This was a whole new realm all over again, even though this is essentially my second time going through this transition. I hope this makes sense. I have notes here, and I feel like I'm going completely off the rails. The process has been enlightening in terms of understanding all the struggles I've had over the years. Again, keeping a job was always an issue. Staying on task was always an issue. And I consider myself a fairly bright individual. I think most folks do who know me. And this isn't a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of chemical imbalances. And being able to be that scientific about it has helped, I think, people at large kind of address these things, especially, us Gen Xers who can now kind of shed themselves of the stigma. Because we're realizing the number of friends I have who have come up and present themselves as having different mental health diagnoses over the last 5, maybe 10 years is staggering. And you immediately learn that you're part of this really big club of folks who are trying to manage themselves without therapy, without medication, and doing the best we could. My wife often asks me, between this and other things, how I'm still around, how I'm still alive. I don't have a solid answer to that, but I'm learning that question is applicable to so many more people my age than just me. I have some friends who I think were a little angry once they received the diagnosis and received therapy or medication and got to realize what neurotypical folks deal with and how they get to live, and the lack of friction, at least in this realm, in their lives. For me, it was really just a ton of relief that there was a reason why I was bugging, for lack of a better phrase. There was a reason why I had these issues. I would have loved to have gotten this sorted out 20, 30 years ago, but I'm here now, and whatever stigmas I put on myself over the course of my life have more and more gone away, because I realized that more than being deficient, I was a survivor. I was able to, not always in the best ways, but I was able to manage and get to this point where I do get to be my full creative self, and I do hold down a day job, and I'm, helping to raise 2 fabulous children, and I have a wife who loves me, and all the things that didn't fully feel available to me. And if they weren't in their best form. I'm not in that space anymore. I can appreciate who I am more because I know the things that I'm dealing with have an answer. It's not a character flaw or a moral failing, which I've heard about myself more than once from different people, that I just need to be better. Getting to shed that. And I'll be honest, there's a petty part of me that likes the idea that some folks are eating crow in how I'm operating and moving in a space that they didn't think I'd be able to. Petty is underrated. Petty will keep you alive. So in the course of going off the rails with my medication, the one thing I missed the most was talking to you guys. And right now, I mean, I have 600 followers or subscribers on YouTube. It's not like I have a ton of folks out there paying attention to what I'm doing. But somebody is, and that feels nice. I think I said this in my last video, but plans being more consistent and probably make things simpler, and I keep using this word friction, but reducing the friction to having these conversations with you. So yeah, go to therapy, take your meds, drink water, touch grass, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. Before I go, real quick, if you have questions for me about anything of the stuff I was talking about, I'm happy to have that conversation. I'm not an expert, but conversation is a conversation. If this kind of content actually resonates with you and this is what this channel is supposed to be, let me know your thoughts. I've been trying to figure out where I also want to land with this channel, and this feels like something. So yeah, let me know if this is a thing that you would want to sit and listen to on a random Saturday. Peace.